we going?
How many minutes is this?
We got 9 minutes and 59 seconds.
Okay.
Hey guys. Alyssa, you had a great question. We got a little cut off on our last one.
Do you want to go with another one and maybe come back to that one? Or are you ready for that one?
It's whatever.
Okay, I got a really good one.
Yeah.
By the way, we're back.
That just made me think of the dinosaur movie. Anyway, I think it's called We're Back. Anywho. We got
Okay, so I have it's a two-part question.
Okay.
What are deal breakers in your relationships? And part 2, is it godly to put your deal breaker expectations on others?
Dang. Pulling out the big guns this evening. Alright, a deal breaker. In my world right now.
And these can be friendships or like
any
romantic.
sort of relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like when my walk gets stumbled with God. Meaning that relationship brings out my sin nature too much. Like I can't, it makes me identify with who I was before being born again in Christ. I don't know, it's a tough question.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough one.
Because it's going to be different for every circumstance, but basically just, I guess for me, anything where I'm praying for God's will in my life and something or someone is keeping me from that call where I'm changing who I am to accommodate that person so much that I no longer feel like that call on my life that God has called me to. So anything that is going to trip that up, anyone that's going to tie me to sin rather than push me towards the Lord, I guess would be a deal breaker for me. What was the second part of that
Part
question?
2, is it godly to put deal breaker expectations on others?
It's not fair for me to tell anybody how to be, if that's what that question is asking.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Is it godly? Is it in line with your walk with God? And what is God? How does God see that? Because you do have a firm, understanding of this. It's not a trick question. You know exactly why you put those deal breakers in line and why that is or isn't godly. And you know it is.
Right.
So why is it godly to put deal breaker expectations in your life and cut people out and let people stay in? And why does that align with your walk with God?
Whew. Can I mellow on that for a minute?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. We're going to come back to that.
How about I throw that right back your way?
Okay.
You know how to answer these things?
Well, I would say something I've learned over the last year watching Meagan struggle is she really struggled with being able to draw those lines in her relationships where relationships were no longer fruitful and bringing fruit to her spiritual life. And if her one focus is the Lord and she finds somebody in her life that's stumbling her walk, first of all, it is Meagan's fault when her walk is stumbled by somebody, but it is also her responsibility to say, I either need to set up a very clear boundary here, and if it's not respected, I need to cut off this branch. Because her walk with God is number one, and her cutting someone off is not a mean thing. It's saying, Lord, I'm going to follow you before I follow anyone else, because they are of the world, and my number one focus is you. So that's where you find God and cutting people out of your life. And not that that's always the answer. I think the Lord asks us to always love and always give grace, but I think that at some point someone is an unhealthy part of your life or brings out bad qualities in you and it's stumbling your walk. The Lord is number one. Number one.
I think in those situations too, like a stumbling of a walk means you can't get back to him and you can't find him, because there are relationships that are going to be really, really challenging, and relationships where, you know, like it's for your growth and it's for your betterment, and God's going to use people in your life to weed things out of you.
It's not necessarily that you're uncomfortable. It's that it stumbles your walk. And I think you have to trust the Lord to set up very clear, concise boundaries. Like, this is what you're doing, and I need you to stop in order to maintain this friendship or this relationship with you. That is your part. It's putting out that clear communication. But I think if that boundary is then again crossed over and over again, I think we always need to have forgiveness and grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, you had it. She thought it was trick questioning her.
Well, it's just a big one.
It's a big one.
It's a big question. It's hard to draw those boundaries.
And it's hard to go to that vulnerable place.
Yeah, like it's hard to, I guess, for instance, I mean, I have made the decision to dedicate my life to the Lord by being baptized, and like the enemy has been hitting me super hard this last month. Like, I lost my dog, I had to put him down. There was all this turmoil and confusion, and my baptism started kind of becoming more about making the people that were invited comfortable rather than the focus of that. And like, there's all sorts of boundaries that you have to draw, and they're hard and they hurt, because like, you don't want to hurt people, but you also can't allow your walk to be stumbled. And so it's kind of it's a confusing, weird place when branches get cut or when you have to sever them. Yeah.
And I think it rounds us right back to what we talk about in just about every video, that people pleasing. You need to please your God before you ever please the people around you. And to please people over God is worshiping them, or your own feelings, your feelings of insecurity, your feelings of needing to be enough or the best in front of somebody else. You're putting those things above God when you very clearly know, you know. And if you're unsure, if it's kind of a weird place where you haven't really tackled that before, like, pray about it. Give it a week. Don't ever do anything in the moment or out of emotion.
It doesn't go well.
No, pray about it for a week. Pray about it for a month. I think the Lord will give you the answers you're looking for there if you really seek His face and really seek His wisdom in that. And don't ever do them out of anger, you know.
Trying to teach somebody something.
Yeah.
Isn't right either.
Putting yourself above somebody else and better than them? No. No, you're not. I'm not. You're not. She's not. Nope.
Yeah.
So we did a question in the time allotted, and so we're going to cut it short because our last video got kind of weird. So we're going to separate this into little pieces, digestible pieces for you. They'll be digestible.
Yeah.
Little tidbits.
Be digestible.
They'll be digestible.
Yeah. Manageable.
So, as always, I am Alyssa.
And I'm Megan.
I enjoyed spending time with you guys. Have a good night.
Bye.